Welcome to today's information session for our certificate program in construction management and leadership here at UC Berkeley Extension. I wanted to start by thanking everyone for taking time out of your busy schedules to learn more about our program today. My name is David Brotherton, and I'm the program director for the construction management leadership program. And in addition to this program, I also manage our HVAC, facilities management, and sustainability related programs as well. And I'm really excited to outline our new construction management and leadership program for everyone today. As it's been recently restructured, and one of the nice features is it's now available to complete fully online. Keep in mind at any time during today's information session, please feel free to type out and submit any of your questions. We will attempt to answer them throughout the session, or we will address them later in the Q&A portion. As everyone is probably aware, the Bay Area has experienced a construction boom in the past 5 years, and really going back further than five, but the numbers have been really striking in the past 5 years. And this has led to large increases in construction management jobs in the Bay Area. And after doing some detailed research with an employment and HR analytics firm named MZ, we were able to really dig in and find precise data down to a county and even city level. And luckily, construction managers possess their own unique standard occupational code as defined by by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. So it is possible to actually examine this data at such a granular level. And what we found is you can just see there's been remarkable employment growth for construction managers in all the major counties surrounding the Bay Area. And these are numbers you would typically find over multi-decade periods, for other geographic regions. Just to give you to put into context how impressive this recent job growth has been. But while kind of demand for construction professionals, has recently been robust, there is a natural cycle, and I think that was kind of taking its course on its own, and then couple that with the fallout from COVID-19, and that makes the future much more uncertain. For example, in 2019, job growth has slowed to 2% annually, which is still a very respectable number, just lower than the strong growth of the recent years. And we've also observed a reduction in new job postings in 2020. And while that's not surprising given the circumstances, now more than ever, it's critical to obtain the skills that are most desired in the industry moving forward to secure the best employment prospects possible. We recently convened an advisory board, and this was part of our 5-year review of the program. And we really wanted to rethink the program design, and a recurring theme emerged. And this arose organically from a roundtable conversation that we had with numerous, high-level board members who hold, vice president or higher levels at many of the large local firms. And there was a consensus that, the reason that so many of the high-level managers that were sitting around the table rose to the positions that they did, it wasn't necessarily because they possessed, superior technical construction knowledge. Rather, it was more centered around their soft skills, emotional IQ, communication, and leadership skills. That's really what set them apart. And these complementary skill sets, it really became a driving force behind our new curriculum design. And as some of the further research that we did with the HR analytics data partner MZ, we did a deep dive and examined the key kind of hard skills and common skills that were identified by examining job postings. And when that's cross-referenced with the skills that applicants self-identify and possess in their resume and also in their LinkedIn profiles, we're able to uncover where the largest skills gap exists for construction managers, and specifically construction managers in the Bay Area. And while the top broad skills like construction manager and project management were covered quite thoroughly by the practitioners who were applying for jobs, the largest fundamental skills gap that we saw was subcontracting. And interestingly, we offer a course and already had one that was specifically tailored to managing subcontractors, and it was attached to our program in project management. and that course is called Leadership Without Authority. And additionally, to address some of the skills gap in the project scheduling area, we've recently hired a new instructor, Guillermo Luzardo, who incorporates Primavera P6 in our construction project scheduling course. And we also added a project schedule and risk management course from our project management program as an additional elective course. And to kind of address some of the skills gap with the cost management category, we also added an additional elective course in with a course called Project Cost and Procurement Management. And bear in mind, Berkeley Extension has one of the largest and most successful project management programs in the world. So, given the relevance of this content to construction managers, it just made sense for us to leverage these valuable assets that were part of other programs at Berkeley Extension by offering them within our program as well. And another glaring skills gap that jumps out is the one centered around communication. And to be fair, this is present in nearly all the professions that we examined. And to tackle this communication gap, it's the most relevant and productive manner possible for construction professionals. So to really dig into the courses that would really move the needle for our students, we decided to add course options in business negotiations, as well as mediation and conflict resolution. So if you have aspirations of elevating your position to higher level management posts in the future, which was the most common response that our students indicated in one of our recent student surveys. So to kind of add this skill, we added a class called Organization and Management, which is an overview management course from our certificate program in leadership and management. So now we will examine the program structure, first looking at the core courses and next the elective courses. So you can see a list of all the core courses here. And while we have just discussed some of the strategically leveraged courses from our other programs that have, particular relevance to construction managers, bear in mind we have retained our foundational construction courses. So those who are seeking dedicated construction-specific coursework, we do indeed have that to meet your needs. And keep in mind, you would just need to complete a minimum of 4 of these 8 core courses. So depending on whatever your specific academic needs are, you can kind of select from this list to pick the ones that best suit your needs. And before we move on to the elective courses, I did want to mention that you can use any additional core courses beyond the 4 that are required as elective course options as well. So you could opt to just take only classes listed in the core section and not take any specific elective courses as well. Our program now allows students to take 6 semester hours of elective courses. This increase was designed to allow students, who'd like to take more complementary skills courses, the ability to do so. And all the courses that are denoted with an asterisk are also offered in a fixed date online format. So these are the traditional asynchronous online courses that don't have regular face-to-face meetings. And I would encourage everyone to visit our website to find out more about any individual courses. You can read the course descriptions, learn more about the instructors, see the course outlines, and see which courses are currently available for enrollment. Our program was designed to be flexible in a multitude of ways. Well, one aspect is you now have the ability to complete the program fully online. This not only makes the program more convenient to complete, but it also reduces the minimum time needed to finish the program. Typically, we offer 4 or so construction-specific classes every term, and many of the complementary skills courses are offered every term or nearly every term. The addition of these complementary skills courses also allows us to reach a wider audience. So, for example, let's say if you were someone who obtained a degree in civil engineering, let's say 10 years ago, and you're comfortable with the basics in construction management, maybe estimating, project scheduling. And if you took our program, you might just be interested in learning more about building information modeling or becoming up to date in the most recent aspects of construction law, or to brush up on some sustainable building or lead courses. So you could maybe focus some of your attention on these construction specific courses and then focus the remainder on the softer skills classes. Let's say you wanted to enhance your skills in negotiation and conflict mediation, or maybe managing subcontractors, or just generally in managing people better. Our program provides real value to these mid-career professionals, which our previous iteration of the program didn't quite hit that mark as clearly. And we also have the flexibility to provide a great learning experience for those with limited experience, or maybe someone who's transitioning new into the construction sector. Our program provides many paths forward, and the key is you can customize the path as you see fit to best fit your needs. And our courses are led by industry practitioners. And this is a big difference from your typical undergraduate or graduate coursework. Many of our instructors have decades of industry experience to draw from. And in our classes, theory takes more of a backseat to real world applications. And keep in mind, our program is not cohort based. So you'll meet and network with many new individuals in each class that you take with us. And our courses in the program, it is open enrollment, so there's no formal application process. You can just start taking classes. We encourage everyone just to start with a course, see how it fits, and really get a sense of if the program's right for you before you formally enroll into the program. And we'll discuss the certificate enrollment and completion process a little later in the presentation. I would also encourage everyone to ask their supervisor or HR representative about your company's educational and training benefits packages. Many of our students will either receive full or partial reimbursement for all their course costs. Our programs and curriculum are academically rigorous. All certificate and professional programs are approved by UC Berkeley and are reviewed every 5 years with an advisory board, which is comprised of a UC Berkeley campus faculty member, in addition to numerous executive level industry practitioners and thought leaders. We carry the same accreditation as campus through the Western Association of Schools and Colleges. All students completing certificates through extension must successfully complete all relevant coursework with a grade of C or better and finish with at least a 2.5 grade point average to receive a certificate. So to review the program curriculum itself, it is comprised of 4 core courses that you choose from a list of 8, as well as 6 semester units of electives. And again, you may choose to apply any additional core courses beyond the 4 that are required as your elective options. So for example, if you choose to complete 7 of the program's core courses, that would satisfy all the requirements to complete the program. All of our core courses and our 2 semester units in length, and our elective courses are a mix of either 2 semester unit or 1 semester unit courses. And just to give you a sense of the duration, each semester unit equates to 15 instructional hours. Many of our students complete the program in approximately 2 years, but with the addition of many new online courses, as well as our construction specific courses being taught in a live online format, finishing the program in a year to 18 months is now sensible. We offer students up to 5 years to complete the entire program, and this is to allow for maximum flexibility. For example, if you were to start a new job or experienced a major life event, you may need to take a break from taking classes. Our classes are either held in a fixed date online format, which is an asynchronous online experience, and that will be delivered in a fixed date format. It is there's typically milestones for assessments to be turned in, but there's no live one-on-one face-to-face meetings in those classes. So they are kind of set at your own pace, but there are milestones that guide you through and keep you on track to finish the classes within a fixed time period. We also offer live online classes, which during the COVID situation, all of our normal classroom instruction has shifted into the live online format via Zoom. And to help us coordinate this delivery of the live online classes, we utilize our learning management system, which is called Canvas, which is also the same system we use for all of our dedicated online fixed date classes. And this helps us provide more structure and helps make the live online delivery mode much more seamless. And there are many tools within the Zoom program that helps us create more of an interactive and engaging experience. So we attempt to mimic the classroom experience as much as possible. And for the classroom classes, when those resume, they are either held in our Golden Bear Center in downtown Berkeley or our San Francisco campus on Spear Street. And both centers are conveniently located just a few blocks from downtown Berkeley and Embarcadero BART stops, respectively. To give you a better idea of who our students are and who benefits from our program, I wanted to share some information from a recent student survey that we conducted. Over 80% of our certificate students are currently employed in the construction industry and have diverse levels of professional experience. So even if you're new to the industry or you have more than 10 years experience, our program provides valuable options to help you advance your careers. We also find that in addition to possessing varied levels of professional experience, our students are also employed in companies large and small. And we find that our students work across the whole spectrum from large commercial firms, which happens to be the largest subset, to general contractors, architects, people who work with capital projects and budgeting, residential, remodelers, and related trades in MEP. And just because our classes are filled with so many different practitioners from varied and different backgrounds, students have the opportunity to learn not just from the instructors, but they'll also learn from one another. And we find this truly enriches the educational experience. And while we touched on this point earlier, I think it bears repeating. The diversity of our program enhances the opportunity to network with one another. Throughout the course, of my discussions with all the students and instructors, many have indicated that the value of the networks that they've developed within our classes can sometimes be almost as valuable as the actual educational experience itself. And with the new option of completing project management and business and leadership classes as part of our program, the diversity and networking opportunities you'll find are even expanded further. We have over 200 individuals actively completing courses in our construction program at any given time. And again, because our program is not cohort based, you'll have the opportunity to meet new people in every single course that you take. Here's an excerpt from one of our students who had discussed how she put some of her knowledge that she took from our courses immediately into practice in her job. And if you'd like to hear more about Anna's experiences, I would encourage you to visit our website. It's also worth noting that our certificate program is comprised nearly equally of both men and women. And I believe this is reflective of a shift and a trend that's occurring in the industry and is gaining steam over time. We are fortunate to be joined by one of our wonderful instructors, Kelly Gerhart. Kelly has taught in our construction program for a number of years. And in addition to teaching classes in our program, she also teaches in our interior architecture and interior design program as well. And I'll now hand it over to Kelly to tell you a little bit more about herself.
Thanks, David. So I have a background in sustainability, green building consulting, technical assistance, and education. I have two companies, one called Triple Green Building Group, and we do green building consulting all over the world. We work on small projects and big projects. We do energy models for breweries and envelope commissioning for large projects, and we help projects figure out LEED and sustainability. We also have another company called H Builders. We're residential remodelers and contractors, and we do a lot of sustainable design and construction work right here in the Bay Area. So coming from both of those perspectives, I teach a handful of classes for Berkeley Extension where I try to bring some of that real world experience in applying sustainability to actual projects out in the field.
Before we move on to answer the questions that have been posted throughout the course of this session, I wanted to address how to register and earn an award of completion. We encourage everyone to enroll in the program when you feel the program is right for you because the certificate registration fee is non-refundable. We would also encourage everyone to register for the program prior to completing typically your third course. because the program requirements are subject to change. So registering for the program kind of locks you in to the current program requirements. To earn a certificate, you must take all courses for letter grade and receive a C or better in each course and finish the program with at least a 2.5 grade point average. You will need to notify the academic department after receiving your final grade in order to have your certificate processed.
So now we'll shift to the frequently asked questions and then take the questions that have come in from our participants during the course of the online info session.
So it looks like we had a question come in, and this one's fairly common that we get in these sessions. This is directed for people who've been outside of higher education for a number of years. So if you've been outside the classroom setting for 15 years and have a little bit of reluctance of what it'll be like to come back and take classes again. So to really kind of address the concerns of students in these categories, it's really common for people to take a long break from their last educational experience before coming back and taking classes at Berkeley. And we really design our curriculum, and our classes are much less academic in nature and more practitioner focused, more of the doing and less of the theory. So that should allay some of the fears. And our average age across extension, and it's probably pretty similar in our construction management program, is 35 years. So you'll be in the same boat as a lot of other of your classmates, and so I wouldn't be concerned if you've been out of the classroom for a while and want to come back. This is something that we specifically specialize in at Extension. So Kelly, did you want to talk a little bit more about this from your experience with students who've been out of the classroom setting for a while?
Sure. The typical classroom work and experience at Extension is really perfect for folks coming from a variety of backgrounds and folks, as David said, who may have not been in a classroom setting in a while. Our focus is not on trying to get folks to perform well on exams or write the perfect essay or fill in the bubbles on the Scantron form. Our purpose really is to impart some of the experience that the instructors bring from their professional work, the work of their colleagues through guest speakers and instructors, and really help students understand how the skills that they'd like to pick up are being used in real-world applications. And we do a lot of discussion in the class where folks are learning from each other. Ongoing discussions elicit more interesting information from the experience of fellow students. We do a lot of reading and case studies where we work through projects that I might bring in from my own professional experience, that other students may bring in from their professional experience. And we get a sense of how people are actually making decisions on green building projects, construction projects, that they can take that knowledge, that experience, and learn to do things well and learn to avoid some of the pitfalls. So we focus a lot on how you actually do these things in the real world, and less on some of the components of the learning environment that folks might find intimidating, like heavy on the testing, heavy on the quizzes, heavy on the incredible amounts of reading. The focus in my classes is really to challenge students to access the reading information, access the case studies, access me as an instructor, and dig into the things that they find most interesting and most applicable to where they want to go in their careers.
Okay, thanks, Kelly. We had another question that talks about how much work are you expected to do outside the class in any given week for some of the courses that we offer. And usually the best way to address this is it varies considerably. There's not a set standard. Oftentimes we'll tell students between 2 to 4 hours a week is the amount of work that's expected outside the classroom. But it really does vary to the type of class that we have. So sometimes we'll have a 10-week class that run, a 2-semester unit class that will run once per week, 3 hours in the evenings over a 10-week span. And some of the work might be distributed differently than if you're taking a class, let's say over 4 weekends that are all day each weekend, or on a Saturday, let's say. So you could get that same 30 hours of instruction in a compacted format. Some of those classes might ask for a little bit more of your time because you're doing the entire class over a much shorter period of time. Did you want to address some of the classes and that you teach and what you kind of expect outside the class
Sure.
each week?
The classes that I teach, they are focused, as I said earlier, on sustainability and green building. And I teach a series actually that's an intro to sustainability, a more advanced version, and then a version where we're implementing strategies for sustainability. So it's taking students from the very basics through applications and then into some of the more complex areas of my field. And I expect students to do a lot in that class where there's a tremendous amount of information that you could try to absorb and learn about these topics. And what I encourage students to do is to narrow in on an area that they are either extremely excited about and they start reading about it and learning about it, and the light bulbs just go off and they get that grin on their face and they just can't get enough of it. That's what I encourage students to pursue. I also encourage students to go after things that are brand new to them, so to help broaden what they're looking for. The work for my classes tends to be reading and preparation for discussion during the next course, the next offering of the course. And I also ask students to prepare presentations to come back to the class and help share their learning about the readings that they found most interesting, the topics they found most interesting, and the project examples that they found most interesting. I really encourage students to do as deep a dive as they can on walking themselves through the challenges of a typical project on their own or in a team setting. So let's say you'd like to pursue LEED certification, Greenpoint certification, BREEAM certification, any of these green building rating programs on a project building. I asked students to walk us through in a presentation format and a final paper. Walk us through how you might take that building from design through completion. And in the less intense courses, the more basic courses, that's going to be much more of an overview. And the more intense courses, I'm expecting to see more calculations and information on specific strategies. So in terms of work outside the classroom, I would echo what David said. It varies tremendously. But what I'm expecting is that students are able to demonstrate that they meet the learning objectives of the class, which are clearly spelled out in all the syllabi. That helps me see that they get it, that they understand the concepts, that they understand the tools, and that they're ready to go apply this in their own work.
Okay, thanks. We had another question, and this one's also very common. I may have touched on it a little bit more in the presentation, but I'll go ahead and address it again. Someone is asking about what is the value of obtaining a certificate in construction management from UC Berkeley Extension? What can they expect as far as it helping them to advance their career? And the value, while I don't have any specific results from research we've done by contacting hiring managers and to spell it out scientifically about what hiring managers in the Bay Area say about our program, I will say it's been running for 20 plus years. It has an excellent reputation. The program is also quite flexible. So one of the big benefits is it's not just that you're trying to obtain a certificate to get a piece of paper to maybe help your career. Sometimes people might have that impression sometimes of some degree programs. Our program is designed more specifically and it's flexible, so it helps you fit your needs. So if you, for example, have spent 10 years as an estimator, you might not want to take the core class in pre-construction estimating. You might want to talk to the instructor to see is it value added for you to do that. Maybe a better use of courses would be to take other classes to fill educational gaps that you might have. And we also are flexible to the point where if you wanted to substitute another class from a different area, for example, from our interior design, interior architecture program or a project management course, we offer a wide array of courses that can help fill any of the educational gaps that you may have. So the value of a certificate, I think, really speaks to itself. The Berkeley brand, our alumni have been very successful. And I think a lot of the employers really know and trust our program. But more importantly to you, how it affects you personally is how the path that you choose to forge and you have the ability to obtain the knowledge and that's going to be most valuable for you in your career. So that's generally how, kind of my expanded answer on what is the value of a certificate at Extension. So Kelly, what are your impressions from interacting with students in the programs that you've taught about the value of our certificate?
Well, one of the there are many enjoyable things about being an instructor for Berkeley Extension. And one of the wonderful joys is to stay in touch with students as they advance in their careers, as they move forward with things. So I love hearing back from students who tell me things like, Kelly, I'm so excited. I've earned this credential for sustainability. I've earned my LEED credential. I certified my first building. I participated in a new project that I wasn't able to do before because now I have this background and knowledge and a certificate. And I hear from students who are launching careers by taking the certificate as a way to differentiate themselves and get that next job, get that promotion, and get into grad school, whatever that next step is for them. So I hear wonderful things back from students, and I'm sure I will continue to hear wonderful things.
Fantastic. Thanks, Kelly. And the thread that Kelly, I can continue that on with the next question that asks about what are some of the career service opportunities that we have at Extension. And the one that I usually stress the most, since we are an extension, we don't quite have the resources of, if we were a campus-based program or a master's program that's, really a high dollar program, we don't have the same resources as some of those would have on campus. But probably as far as a career enhancement component of our program are the individuals like Kelly and our other instructors, but also the students themselves. What we hear back from students when we send out surveys periodically about their experiences in the program and the satisfaction of the program after they have finished it, or 5 years after they finished it, and they've had plenty of time to reflect. A lot of the things that we hear are the importance of sitting in those classrooms and networking with students. So our classes in construction management certificate, they range from relatively, more the intimate settings where you might have 8 to 10 people in a class, all the way up to 30. But we're not a cohort-based program, so every time you step into a class, you could be seeing a whole new set of people that you didn't get a chance to share a class with the last time. So there's a wealth of networking opportunities. We literally have hundreds of students going through our program at any given time. And so I do hear that time and time again, and that's probably what I stress the most as far as about not only the knowledge that's imparted, but also the career enhancement component is through the networks you build in our program. And Kelly can probably, you were talking about you keep in touch, but the students, have they talked about the value of the network within the class as well?
Oh, yeah. And touching back on the question that was asked earlier about the type of work that's done out of class, the type of work that's done in class is really important and I think really enjoyable for students. When folks are coming back into a learning environment like this after they've been away, one of the things they might find intimidating at first, perhaps, but I think a huge benefit is that instructors will often encourage people to do group projects, encourage lots of discussion during class time. You're not going to be in a classroom and just be lectured at for hours. There's a lot of interaction and there's opportunity for making those kinds of connections that David was talking about. I have students who I've also been a student here at Berkeley Extension. I've taken some of the other courses that are offered by my fellow instructors. And I have met fellow students that I continue to have professional and personal relationships with to this day. So I am very grateful for being part of this community, not only as an instructor, but also as a student. And can't say enough about the relationships and the networking that come with being a part of the Berkeley Extension community.
Okay, thanks, Kelly. So we had another question come in, and they were asking about, obviously Kelly's introduced herself, but what is the typical instructor like at Extension? What could you expect whenever you come into the classroom for the first time? So Kelly's talked a little bit about herself already, but I can kind of talk about some of the other instructors, and I guess Kelly can talk to this as well, but she's taken some other classes at Extension. The typical instructors often have decades of experience. Oftentimes they have worked in several facets of the construction trade. So often have worked typically up the ladder in large construction companies. So they've had experiences and understand where students are coming from at various points in their career. And like I mentioned earlier, it is more, kind of practitioner-based and a little less theoretical. So that is the approach that we take. So we really lean on instructors that have tremendous depth and experience within the industry. So it will definitely have a different feel than maybe a typical class that you've had previously in your academic career. But did you want to touch on that more from some of the other instructors?
Sure. One of the common themes that I've seen from my fellow instructors is this generosity of spirit and generosity of knowledge. As David mentioned, we have instructors who have decades of experience. We have instructors who are very specialized in their field. And one of the things that I think brings us together is that we love what we do. And we understand that people want to learn and increase their capacity, increase their ability, explore more of these industries. And they come to Extension because we have these instructors who are not only experts in their field, but they love what they do and they want to share that with other people. I took a course on building information modeling recently, which just blew me away. The instructor was so knowledgeable and does what I enjoy as a student, just laying out this huge buffet of awesome information that's way more than anybody can handle in one serving. But you get to see what's out there. You get to see the tools that can be used. You get to see the strategies, and you get a sense of what works really well, what might be most challenging, and you get to choose from that huge buffet of information to take into your work and really take to the next level. So I appreciate that about the instructors. They're very generous with their time, with their the work that they have put into the material that's being offered, and really being there for the students to help answer questions both during class time, break time, and between classes. And myself, like I said, I'm still in touch with many of my students, and I welcome that. I'm thrilled to hear from them about their achievements and answer further questions for them as time goes on.
So, well, it looks like that's all the questions that we've had that have come in today. I would also encourage if questions come up after the session's over and you wanted to reach out and had any questions you wanted answered, our contact information is listed on the slide there. I should also note that we're going to send a copy of this online information session to all the students, so you can review this and you'll have our contact information available to send in any questions. So with that, I would thank everybody for taking some time and learning more about our program. And again, feel free to reach out if you have any questions whatsoever. Thank you.